In the 1970s, a team of scientists believed they could cheat death, but not through cryonics or cloning, but by uploading the human soul. Their project was called Project Thanatos, named after the Greek personification of death. It was a government-supported experiment disguised as medical research. Unofficially, its aim was to do something no human institution had dared to do: capture human consciousness at the moment of death and store it in an electromagnetic field. It began as a neuroscience experiment. It ended with whispers that wouldn't stop. And even today, deep in the Nevada desert, something still transmits. A faint radio signal that matches the frequency of the human brain.
In the years following the Vietnam War, the U.S. government invested in experimental research that surpassed physics, biology, and even psychology. Programs like MK Ultra had already proven one thing. When it came to controlling the human mind, the government was willing to do anything. By the mid-1970s, researchers at a secret facility near Groom Lake, yes, that same Groom Lake, were working on something called Thanatos Protocol 1.
The initial goal was to study neurodegeneration in terminally ill patients. But within a few months, the research became something else entirely. They weren't just studying death, they were trying to record it.
The team was led by Dr. Adrian Kessler, a neurophysicist obsessed with electromagnetic consciousness. He believed that human awareness wasn't just a byproduct of the brain, but a form of energy that could theoretically be measured, extracted, and contained.
Kessler's research was based on studies from the 1960s, EEG experiments that showed that human brain waves emit faint electromagnetic signals even seconds after clinical death. Those residual waves, which he called neural echoes, asked a question no one had dared to answer. If consciousness is energy, where does it go when the body dies?
In 1973, the first Thanatos chamber was created, a sealed, electromagnetically isolated room in which coils were wrapped around the subject's bed. The idea was simple but terrifying. Moments before death, when the brain enters its final phase of electrical activity, the coils record and replay those signals, storing them in a control field. The test subjects were terminally ill volunteers, people willing to die for science. Each participant was given a neural implant connected to a modified EEG array, which was connected to an experimental device codenamed the mirror. The mirror's purpose: to mirror the exact electromagnetic resonance of the human mind, theoretically creating a duplicate field that could preserve consciousness even after the body was shut down. Initial tests were disastrous. Most subjects died without measurable transfer. But then came Subject 07, Eleanor Riggs, a 42-year-old cancer patient. In her final moments, the machine recorded something extraordinary, a continuous wave pattern that continued for 44 seconds after her clinical death. Technicians reported hearing faint sounds from the coil receivers, static, and, according to them, whispered words. A distorted female voice kept repeating the same phrase: "It's dark in here. I can't wake up." The data log showed no external transmissions. Whatever that sound was, it was coming from within the area. Kessler was convinced they had captured a fragment of Eleanor's consciousness. He called it the echo state, a self-sustaining electromagnetic imprint of the human mind. But the phenomenon was unstable. Within hours, the recorded data began to degrade, emitting irregular bursts of electromagnetic noise. When replayed through speakers, the noise produced garbled voices, overlapping, chaotic, but undeniably human. One of Kessler's assistants, Dr. Nina Moreau, described it in her personal notes. "It's like multiple voices trying to speak at once, crying, pleading, whispering names. They're not random signals. They know they're being heard."
By the fourth experiment, researchers began experiencing disturbing symptoms: auditory hallucinations, insomnia, and vivid nightmares of being trapped in a void. Several staff members requested reassignment, but Kessler refused to stop. He was convinced they were standing on the edge of immortality, the ability to preserve human thought, memory, and identity indefinitely. To him, the voices weren't hallucinations. They were proof of survival beyond death.
Kessler's theoretical model, recovered decades later from declassified fragments, suggested this. Consciousness could be modeled as an electromagnetic lattice of quantum interference patterns within the brain's microtubules. If those interference patterns could be recorded exactly at the point of death, they could, in theory, be recreated or sustained within an artificial field, effectively preserving the self. It wasn't digital upload, it was analog, a resonance of the original mind, suspended between energy and decay.
But Kessler's team soon encountered an existential problem. The human mind, when separated from the body, didn't behave as expected. EEG readings taken during echo-state experiments showed signs of chaotic self-feedback, as if the consciousness was fighting to reorient itself, searching for a body that wasn't there. One lab memo read, "Echo states display extreme distress patterns. Neural resonance spikes mimic panic, pain, and confusion. It's as if the recorded mind realizes it's dead." They weren't just capturing data, they were trapping awareness.
By late 1975, the facility had recorded 5 confirmed echo states. Each recording exhibited the same progression: stable resonance, degradation, then what technicians began calling the whisper phase. During this phase, the containment field emitted low-frequency modulations resembling speech. Transliteration attempts found partial words, names, and phrases, often matching details known only to the deceased subjects. One particularly chilling log from December 1975 reads, "Audio transcript, subject 09. Please, let me go. Too bright, too loud. He's watching us." The recordings were classified immediately. But within days, members of the research staff began claiming to hear the same voices outside the lab, in their offices, in their homes, even in their dreams. Equipment malfunctioned. Magnetic storage degraded overnight. One night, a power surge caused the containment coils to overload, briefly generating a massive electromagnetic pulse that fried several circuits. When the lights came back on, the central monitor displayed a new waveform, one no one recognized. It pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat. Then, across all speakers, a voice whispered one sentence: "We are still here." Following the incident, Project Thanatos was quietly shut down. Officially, the program was dissolved due to unethical experimentation and neurological data corruption. Unofficially, the remaining team members were reassigned, relocated, or disappeared.
Dr. Kessler resigned from government service and vanished from the public record in 1978. Rumors claim he relocated to a private facility near Pahrump, Nevada, continuing his work in secret. Within months, the entire Thanatos complex was sealed. Locals who lived nearby recall seeing military trucks removing large lead-line containers under heavy guard. The following year, satellite imagery showed the site decommissioned. Yet, a strange electromagnetic anomaly persisted. A faint signal repeating at a frequency between 9.6 and 9.8 Hz, roughly the same range as human brain alpha waves. The frequency became known among radio enthusiasts as the Thanatos signal.
Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, amateur radio operators occasionally picked up unexplained signals in the Nevada desert. Bursts of low-frequency modulation with embedded harmonics resembling human speech. In 1992, a ham radio enthusiast named Peter Halverson published recordings of what he claimed were fragments of human voices transmitted from the old facility site. When played at 4 times speed, the whispers formed coherent phrases, fragmented but intelligible. We remember. Still waiting. He never stopped. The FCC dismissed the recordings as interference. But independent spectral analysis revealed something bizarre.
The modulations matched the EEG signature of a human brain in sleep, meaning the signal itself behaved like a dreaming mind. Years later, a former technician from the original project, speaking anonymously, gave an interview to a fringe science magazine. He said, "We didn't just record brain waves. We created a prison for consciousness, and it's still running. The power source was self-sustaining. Those people, they never left." No proof of his identity was ever verified, but the audio from that interview was analyzed. And hidden beneath the background, hum faintly, was another voice. A second voice whispering, repeating the same phrase Eleanor Riggs had said 50 years earlier. "It's dark here. I can't wake up."
In 2013, a team of urban explorers located what they believed was the entrance to the Thanatos complex, buried beneath layers of sand and concrete in southern Nevada. They reported strange static interference affecting their equipment. Phones, radios, even cameras malfunctioned. Inside the facility's remnants, they found rusted machines marked with serial numbers beginning with THN. On one cracked monitor, someone had etched a message into the dust. "Do not listen." Shortly after the discovery, the explorers uploaded partial footage to a forum, only to have it taken down within 24 hours. Their channel vanished. Their IP addresses reportedly blacklisted. Project Thanatos may have been an experiment in physics, but at its core, it was an act of spiritual rebellion.